All right, we are live, and for the first time, it's being started on time instead of half an hour late. So I am BMillzebub. Welcome to my channel, and tonight I am going to be interviewing the Unholy Mole, who, because of a trick of how my brain works, I want to say Unholy Moly every damn time.
That's fine. Unholy moly's fine. It
So
rhymes.
why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Mole?
Okay. I'm an atheist YouTuber. I don't talk about just atheism. I talk about nerdy type stuff like uh, Star Trek and comic books and conspiracy theories and just whatever. I don't want it to get I don't want my channel to get stagnant. If you talk about the same thing all the time, it just it's stagnant. Um, when I was a child, I wasn't particularly religious. I mean, my family my mother was a Catholic. My dad, I think, became a Catholic to marry my mom because it was back in the 60s, whatever. Her parents were kind of old school. My mom's from Germany. She was born in World War II Germany in 1940, and she moved here in the early 60s. So, but growing up, I never we went to church rarely. I mean, like Christmas and Easter sometimes, but I mean, it wasn't nothing real serious. I mean, we had crucifixes at the house. I mean, I think my parents believed in God, but they weren't what you would call religious. I mean, there was nothing that we ever really talked about. Then when as I got a little older, I mean, I think I don't know 12 or so when I started catechism class to get ready for like communion or whatever. So I had to, and even at that age, like when I started hearing the stories about like Jonah and the well, and just everything about it just sounded phony to me. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I mean, I'm a 12-year-old kid, and I'm like, how do these people believe this shit? I mean, it's just like listening to a story like a Xena warrior princess or something. I mean, that's what it sounded to me. It was a fairy tale. I'm like, so I went to catechism class. I never really, I don't think I ever did communion or anything. My like I said, my parents weren't particularly religious. Um, in my teenage years, I went through. I grew up in the '90s, so I was already, well, all teenagers are cynical, but '90s teenagers had a special kind of cynicism. We were like extra cynical or something. I don't know, but I went through like the whole grunge phase. Like I guess that would be like 90s version of a hipster kind of, isn't it? Like everybody thought
Yeah.
they were an individual, but they were actually all the same. That kind
Oh
of
yeah.
thing. So then I went like I've always been a avid reader. Like so I mean I love fantasy type stuff. Like I mean I'll read. I love urban like magic or wizards and shit like that. Even demons and stuff. I think all that stuff's interesting. I mean it's a cool premise, but that's all it is a story. It's entertainment. And so I started reading books on the occult, and I got a satanic. I got a hold of Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible, and so I went through that little, uh, rebellious goth phase when I was like I don't know 18 or 19. I was real into metal and stuff. I think it was more of a shock value than anything. I didn't believe in Satan. I just, I wasn't particular. I didn't believe in God either. I mean, I obviously was an atheist at that point, but I didn't really, put much thought into it. I mean, I didn't know what fallacies were. I didn't study the Bible, and that wasn't why I just thought it was plain. I thought it was silly, that's more or less. And then as I got older, I think what happened was I met a girl. I actually this happened a couple times, but I met a girl and she went to church. I thought, well, what the hell, I'll go with her, and I went with her, and just the way they acted fucking was so creepy. I mean, like you would think that like you go to a church and like they'd be all loving and welcoming. I mean, on the outside they seem that way, but like it was like I don't know, like the Stepford Wives or something. They just seemed so disingenuous, and I don't know, just something about it creeped me out, and that really fueled the flames for my atheism. So I started reading more about it, like Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, whatever I can get my hands on. Richard Carrier recently, of course, Carl Sagan, that kind of stuff. I've always been into science, and I'm a huge, huge history buff. And once I, actually sat down and I would like to say I've read the whole Bible, but that would be a lie because that's a lot of fucking book, man. That is a lot of book.
Oh yeah, it's
But like I am in my well, this is a little further on. So, but I'm into history and stuff. So, I just recently got out of a 5-year relationship with a devout Pentecostal. Her dad was a pastor, and so they were always trying to convert me. I went to church with them a few times, and oh my god, the first time I heard tongues, I was like, I mean, I had to like stifle a giggle. I'm like, and the weird thing is these people are so. I mean, they're absolutely serious. I mean, like I don't. I thought at first they were faking it, but I think that I don't know if they like go into some kind of like self-induced trance from fucking like a mass hysteria kind of thing. Something's going on. I know it isn't God, but it's definitely something going on. I mean, it's kind of spooky. I mean, but when the preachers do it at will, that's fake. When they do and then Jesus, blah blah blah, hakuna matata, hakuna la 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 la. I mean, they're just faking. They're just faking that shit. But so um, once I got with Heather, I went to church for actually how what opened my mind to it a little bit was like I'm like I'm a recovered heroin addict. I've been clean for almost 6 years now, but
that's good.
when I first got clean, the only game in town is AA, and at AA they talk about God a lot, and I mean I fought them tooth and nail the entire time I went there. I mean I still go occasionally, and I'm the resident atheist, like yeah, we don't know how he's sober. He's an atheist, like. But I always point out to them that the power for me of AA is the group. Having people I can depend on and changing my life, and showing me a new way to live. I had to learn how to live again. So that kind of opened my eyes to the spirituality side of it. Maybe like I saw the good in people. I knew that there are good people out there, and if you put good things out, good things come back to you. So I went to the library a lot during this time. I'm getting sober. I wasn't working at the time because I was afraid to work. To be honest with you, I was afraid if I had money that I would just go to the dope house, and I probably would have. I mean, the first like 6 7 months. So I went to the library a lot, and a girl I went to high school with there, real wonderful. I still, as a matter of fact, I still love her. We're not together anymore, but I mean, it wasn't going to work. I mean, I'm not going to change my mind. I'm an atheist. She's a devout Pentecostal. I mean, like, I mean, I was respectful when they prayed and stuff, but I mean, it's real confusing for her son. I mean, I consider him my son. I've pretty much raised him since he was a baby, but I mean, it's just easy. I mean, we're different people, and we're still friends, though. We talk regularly. I see how she's doing. She sees how I'm doing. But I think that but once I got with her, like, and like I went to church, that kind of sparked my interest again, and then I started looking up stuff on like YouTube, and I discovered like Logic and Potholer and uh like the Armored Skeptic and King Crocoduck, people like that, and so I got really really into the atheism thing, and like I kept it quiet though. I didn't like rub her face in it. She knew I was an atheist. I might have been a little condescending at times, but I don't know. I think it just tends to seem that way. I mean, like, because I'd be like, how can you believe that? I'm like, don't you see your parents have indoctrinated you your whole life? I'm like, yeah, and like, but you're not going to convince someone. I mean, it's pretty much like Stockholm syndrome. I mean, at that point. So uh, no, so that got me really into atheism, and like we were together the entire time, and like I always had that niggling feeling in the back of my head that the main our main issue was going to be religion. I mean, I just didn't. I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know when it was going to happen.
Mhm.
And it sure enough happened. I mean, it took 5 years. I mean, and like I said, we're still friends. But I mean, like, what would have happened if like I always had that that thought in the back of my head, like, what if we get married? Like, how am I going to like I don't know, like I don't want any religious wedding. I don't want. I mean, like, what if we were married and like I was to die? Like, I want a secular funeral. Would she honor my wishes? I mean, like, so I mean, it's just we thought it would be better if we just weren't together anymore in that sense. I mean, she's still my best friend. I'll still talk to her about anything. I mean, before any if I have an issue, like I run it by her. She definitely is my she's definitely my like my good angel. Like I have really bad ideas sometimes, and I mean she's my voice of reason, I guess you could say. I run stuff by her, and she'll be like, "No, that's not such a good idea," But I'm glad we're still friends. I've grown up a lot. I mean, like I don't think that I would have reacted the same way 15 years ago, like in my early 20s. Yeah, fuck that bitch, that kind of thing. But I've never called her name to this day. I mean, other than a kook because she's a Christian. I mean, but I mean that's as far as that's went. And she's a kook, but and so yeah, here I am today, and I want to spread the word because um, I don't think I ever wanted to admit this to myself before, but I love that little boy, obviously, but to see him, he's so innocent. And I mean, like, I've never been a father before. And to see, like, how trusting he is. And I mean, they're just filling his head full of shit. I mean, like, and they're like young earth creationists. Like, so he's homeschooled. So, he's, he's going to be lacking in social skills. He's going to be so socially awkward. I mean, he's going to be fucked up from the religion. I mean, that really bothered me. So, like, I don't, I'm totally against that, and like that was a big issue with us. Like, I'm like, I mean, I never came out and said stuff like that to her, but I'm like, you should send him to a regular school because he's got to be around kids his own age. That's how you learn how to grow up. I mean, that's how you learn how to be, a person. You got to be around people. You got to experience stuff. And she's so overly protective of him, and I don't know. So I mean, that was that's a big motivator of mine. I mean, that made me see how dangerous religion really is. I mean, like, I've always kind of known, but I've never been subject to it, in like I've never been around it enough to realize. But I mean, now that I've been around, I mean, I was in a Pentecostal family for 5 years. I wasn't a willing participant. I went occasionally, I mean, to make it would make her look bad in the church's eyes. They have a thing called the appearance of evil, I guess. You ever heard of that?
I've never heard of that. No.
Okay, well, like one time, me and her were laying in bed watching TV, fully clothed, mind you. And her dad's like, he was like, "Oh, I wish you guys wouldn't do that." And he's like, that gives the appearance of evil. I'm like, what? And I'm like, Heather, what the fuck's he talking about? I'd never heard about that before. And I guess what he meant was that we might not be doing any. It might seem innocuous, but there's the potential for something to happen that shouldn't happen. I guess so. That is what gives it the appearance of evil. Yeah.
All
So
right then. That's
yeah. So that's where I am today. Here I am. Voila.
hell. Well, I mean, like with the kid, assuming you stay in his life, I mean, when he gets older, he can ask you, what your thoughts are, and you can try to
Oh
kind of
yeah.
guide him
No,
to
no,
more
I've
skepticism,
never. I mean, right now, I mean, he is a minor. He's not my biological son. So, I don't. I kind of. I avoid the questions. Like, I don't want to answer him, because I don't want to lie to him, so I just kind of avoid the questions. But sooner or later, I'm going to have to tell him, But right now, he's 6 years old. He doesn't need to know yet, Just
Yeah, it's
you
probably a
know,
little on the young side to be
yeah.
having that kind
So
of discussion.
I mean, but yeah, I still want to be. I'm still a part of his mother's life. I mean, we go out for dinner and hang out. I mean, like I said, we're still best friends. I mean, but yeah, it would have never really worked as a couple. I mean, I mean, I'm all tattooed up and shit. I got a beard and a pompadour, and like I walk into a Pentecostal church, I stick out like a sore thumb. Let me tell you. I mean, because yeah, I don't look like them guys at all. I mean, I don't think they believe in they're like a very strict sect. I mean, like I've only seen her wear pants at home. Like if she's going out in public, she always wears a skirt. She doesn't cut her hair. She um Yeah, so they're very strict, and the men aren't supposed to wear aren't supposed to wear shorts. Fuck that, I'm not gonna not wear a short. And
That sounds a lot like a culty kind of church near
it's
where I
very
live
very
called God's Acres.
it's very culty, dude. It's very very culty. Luckily, there's not they have a very small congregation. I mean, there's Heather, her dad, her mom, Nick. So that's the family. That's for the congregation, and there might be, and I'm talking at the most 6 others, and they're very sporadic. So
Hmm.
I mean, it's a very 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 small church, but they've took me to some big ones, and boy, are they some dude. They are fucking. It is nuts. People are like fucking running around crying, like rolling around on the floor and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Like it's like fucking they took a bunch of bad drugs or something. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I mean, it's almost like psychological, like I mean, like because the music, I don't know, the music and the way they preach and just everything together, it like just gets people so wound up, and they go into a fucking frenzy, man. I don't know, like it's insane. Like I don't know, like I can see like how people get wrapped up in it, but I mean I'm sure they totally believe it, but um
Yeah,
I
I don't
I
know how
I,
they justify that though. It's
I have no clue, man. It is so fucking weird, dude. It's so weird. So what religion were you growing up?
Catholic.
Catholic, yeah,
Yeah.
Catholic.
I would say if you were more familiar or better indoctrinated, you would recognize this book right here,
What's that? Which book?
the Catechism of the Catholic Church.
Oh, I probably actually would recognize it anyway. Like I said, I've always studied religion and stuff. Like it's always interested me the occult, religion. Like I hunger for knowledge, but I haven't read any supposed divine texts that showed me any kind of divinity in them. I mean, they all just seem like fucking fairy tales. Like, have you ever read some of the Vedas?
Some of the what?
The Vedas, like Hindu religion.
No.
Oh my god, dude, they got some crazy shit like flying spaceships and fucking they shoot fireballs, and I'm talking like weird shit, dude. Like 6-armed destroyer gods. They got some crazy shit going on over there. So I mean,
Oh,
when does religion become a myth? I mean, like look at all the old religions like Greek mythology, Roman mythology, the Chinese pantheon. I'm sure the Russians, the Finnish. I'm sure everyone's had their own pantheon at one time. So I
yeah.
mean, them are all when them gods are all fucking dead. So I mean, sooner or later, do you think the Abrahamic God will die, or do you think another God will just take over?
At some point, it'll fall out of favor. People will stop
I
worshiping it.
I just wonder. I mean, because already, I mean, there's got to be so much cognitive dissonance in people to be trying to follow the rules of a 2,000-year-old book. I mean, like, how many people, like, even like hard hitting Bible followers survivors like Steve Anderson and Kent Hovind, Ken Ham, they probably they eat shellfish. I'm sure they wear mixed fibers. They've never. Kent Hovind didn't fucking stone Eric Hovind to death for stealing his empire. So I mean, obviously they're fucking not that biblical, but they wanna kill homosexuals, though, don't they? I mean, I just don't understand where they like. How do they pick and choose what they want to believe? That's what boggles my mind.
I think it's about convenience, you know. Not trimming your beard is inconvenient. I mean, I trim my beard. I don't shave it clearly, but you know, shellfish. I mean, have you ever had lobster? That shit's fucking delicious.
Oh yeah, it is. It is delicious.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't plant their own crops anymore, so you know, I mean,
but they fixate on the most like Steve. I hate watch Steve Anderson. Like that guy, like he's like from the Matt Powell, Steve Anderson, all them guys. Like they preach on the most hateful shit. Like I mean, their church is like it's like a pure hate church.
Yeah, I think a lot of it might be that they kind of want to use it to back up their own bigotry.
Oh, they do. They've created an us against them mentality, and they welcome people into their flock, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're one of us," and like they just indoctrinate them like, fags are bad, and like everybody's a sinner. They're all going atheists are stupid, and they make fun of everybody. I mean, Pastor Anderson, like he like talks shit on other churches, on atheists, on gay people, on anybody you can imagine. The Jews, like he's a Holocaust denier. Do you know that?
Oh, that's news to me.
Yeah, he's a Holocaust denier. When the first time I heard that, I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me, dude?" I'm like, I already thought you were a piece
that shit happened.
Yeah, like I was blown away, dude. I was like, I already thought this dude was a piece of shit, but that took a take right there. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, 6 million Jews died. I don't know the figures on like atheists, the Romani, or gay people that were killed, but
yeah, we'll never know the numbers, but a lot. I mean, more people died than none of them should have died. I mean, it was just fucking. It was ridiculous. And last night, I was on a stream with on my friend Mad Dodge's channel, and I don't know who they were all drinking and shit. So I mean, it was kind of a wild stream, but there was this guy on there, and he started talking about how white culture is being destroyed and fucking he's a fascist and he wanted an ethno state. I'm like, what the I'm like, I was kind of stoned. I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, this dude just say he's a Nazi? And I'm like, first of all, I'm like, white, like the white race doesn't really technically have a culture. White people have culture from the different regions they live in or the different different families. I mean, but there isn't one white culture. I mean, the only thing we have in common is we're both it is Christianity and the color of our skin. I mean, besides that, there's no other correlation. Unless you live close to them, you might have some cultural similarities, but other than that, I mean, I think culture is more of a regional thing than a racial thing, wouldn't you think?
It is. I mean, like the different countries, and even within the different countries in Europe, there are different cultures inside each one. But there's not necessarily a single black culture either, because across Africa there are different black cultures. Different regions of America have different cultures. I mean, Jesus Christ, do you remember from the 90s East Coast versus West Coast rappers feud?
Oh yeah. And go back to Africa, there's fucking there's like 2,000 different indigenous peoples that live in Africa. Literally, there's so many different people that live in Africa, and if you told them they were culturally the same, they would be like, "What? What are you talking about?" I mean, like, they have different languages, they dress differently, they believe differently. I mean, there might be some crossover. I mean, like of tribes that live near each other, but for the. I mean, don't tell me that there's not. Culture is a regional thing. It most certainly is.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
it has anything to do with race. Nothing to do with race at all.
Yeah.
And
I
it just
mean,
blew my mind that the guy was so blatantly, like, I mean, I can't believe that he just so blatantly said that he was a Nazi. I'm like, wow. Like, fuck. I'm like, what? I'm like, no one else like really like reacted. I'm like, I think they were stunned. I'm like, and it took me a second. I'm like, what? I'm like, wait a minute, dude. I'm like you're for like for real a Nazi? I'm like, you're a fat. He's like, yeah, I'm a fascist. I think that fucking white culture is being destroyed. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well,
wow.
I don't want to talk. So I just shut my mouth and I didn't talk to her. I figured if I didn't have nothing to say nice, I wasn't going to say nothing at all because I would have fucking probably, I would have probably, I don't know, probably said some stuff I would regret later. But so I just shut my mouth. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And I told Matt later, I'm like, I can't believe you had him on your channel, dude. He's like, I didn't know he was going to talking about being a Nazi and shit. I'm like, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And I do think that I'm not one of them fucking. I'm not a panderer either. I do think that white people are unfairly treated nowadays. I mean, you can say white privilege all you want, but let's face it, if you're fucking white these days, you're fucking scum. But I mean, I don't think that ethnostate is the way to go. I think that we need to fucking quit using this us versus them mentality and fucking get back to the way things were. I mean, I've never ever had a problem with people of color. I don't understand when this happened. The 90s were definitely not like this. I don't know when this identity politics bullshit started, but I wish it would end. That's for sure. For real, I
Well,
just don't get it.
you were older than me in the 90s by quite a bit, so I'm going to, defer to what you remember because I was like 6.
Right. I mean, like even the early 2000s. Do you remember that much racial tension?
Not really. Then again, I wasn't exactly paying much attention.
Okay, well, that's true. I mean, but I mean, I
Yeah.
think a lot. I think a lot, personally, I think a lot of the problem with nowadays is that there's such easy access to anybody in the world. Before we were pretty secluded. We only had a small group of people we talked to. Ideas weren't exchanged so freely. I mean, there was newspapers, yeah, there was television, yeah, but now it's at the like. I mean, we carry it in our pocket with us. I mean, like. So you can argue with a guy in Singapore on Twitter, fucking walking down the street to get a cup of coffee. So I think that might be part of the problem now. And like kids these days, like I've noticed, like I walk to school every day of my life. Like I didn't get no fucking rides, and like my niece and nephew get a ride. Well, they're graduating now. They did get a ride to school though, and they literally lived like 3 fucking blocks from the school. Three
Oh,
fucking
damn. No, I'd have
blocks, dude.
walked. You kidding me?
Yeah, I was like, I mean, just the younger generation. No offense to the younger generation, but they're really have this self entitlement thing almost. I don't know what it comes from, but like I think a lot of it is parents wanting to be kids' friends and not their parents, and it's not necessarily their fault either. Look, think about how much the state sticks their nose into parenting now. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with getting spanked if you act like an idiot. I mean, there's a difference between being beaten and being spanked. And now you can't even, I mean, like if you yell at a kid, they'll fucking call the cops on you and you go to jail. I mean, that's just how can you raise a kid with any respect if you can't reprimand them in any way? I just don't. I don't. I mean, I don't understand what we're supposed to do. I mean, so they're all fucking brats, pretty much. I mean, if you don't get punished, you're a brat. Let's face it.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of seeing a little bit of that with my nephew. He's 9 years old, and unfortunately, it falls to me to be the douchebag, and I'll be the one that reprimands him or makes him do
Yeah,
chores because I'm an evil prick.
right. I
You
was. I,
know,
I always had to be that guy too. Like, I mean, like you would think that you're fucking asking them for a kidney when you just ask them to like carry a shirt to the room. I'm like, dude, really? I'm like, just carry this to your room. This is fucking like 8 steps away. Literally 8 steps away. And you act like I'm asking for your kidney or something. But I mean, like, I don't know, like, I didn't really spank because he didn't give a fuck, dude. Like, because I don't spank hard, so it's not like he's just like, yeah, whatever, you know. Because I mean, he's a little kid. I'm not gonna fucking whack a little kid. I don't know how hard I can hit him without hitting, so I just don't hit him hard at all, you know. It's more of a, I don't know, just kind of a anger, like, ugh, you know. But he didn't even care because like I was afraid to hit him hard, so like he just like whatever. So what he hated though was fucking looking at a wall. Looking at walls is boring, man. And I made him look at that motherfucker. Like he couldn't look down, he couldn't look sideways. I would sit there with him. I mean, I'd sit there the whole time. I'd only do it for like 3 or 4 minutes, but I'd be like, look at that wall. No, don't close your eyes. Don't look down. Look at that wall. And he hated that shit, man. He hated it. But yeah, I don't know. I think kids need a little bit more I don't know, a little more discipline.
I think they need their parents to just be their parents and not try to be their friend.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem today. Is you know, parents want to be their kids' friend, and that like growing up, I've seen a lot, and I've seen how badly that turns out. Like I remember, like you know, I'm a recovered drug addict, so I hung out with some pretty seedy people growing up, and like I've seen like mothers like fucking smoking meth with their like 16-year-old son. Like I'm talking like whole families go to prison. Like one whole family went to prison at the time. That's insane. Um, uh, the mother, 3 daughters, and a granddaughter, it all went to prison at the same time. That is
Jesus.
insanity, dude. Yeah. Oh, and a son too. I forgot about the grandson. So a granddaughter, a grandson, 3 daughters, and a mother all went to prison. I'm like, I mean, so that's what happens when you're friends with your. No, I mean, that's like way in the spectrum. But but I mean, that just shows you what can happen when you're friends with your kids instead of a parent to them.
Yeah, I had no illusions that my parents were my friends. My parents were my parents.
Right, yeah. Like I've
Yeah.
never been like, "Hey, Dad, you want to go hang out?" You know, and now I do because we're older. But I mean, like when I was younger, that was the last thing on my mind was go hang out with my dad.
Yeah,
now
I mean,
now I
I'd
regret
hang
it.
out
I
with my
wish I would have spent
parents
more time with them.
sometimes, but you know,
Well,
it's
you know what I mean. Like
it's a
I mean,
totally
when you're a you know,
it's a
I was
totally
a
different kind of friendship. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's not like, hey, let's go out and get drunk because we're drinking buddies. You know, it's
Right.
go out and,
That
you
never
know,
happened when
I'll
I
buy
hung.
your first drink when you're 21. It's
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was a really angsty teenager anyway. So you know, I was one of them angsty kids.
yeah,
So
I think a lot of kids were that angsty kids. You know,
yeah. Yeah, there's. I think most kids are angsty. To tell you the truth, I mean, I've
yeah,
never like being a teenager is rough, dude. It is probably the roughest part of growing up. That because you are so confused in your head. I mean, all the
oh yeah,
hormones are running through you. You're not quite an adult, but you're not really a kid either. You're kind of like stuck in this weird, fucked up limbo. You have all these strange new feelings coming on. You fucking can't control your bodily parts anymore. Like being a teenager sucks, dude. It really does. I mean, think about it. Think back. Think about how shitty it really is to be a teenager. You know, it's fucking pretty. And
well,
remember
I
how
really didn't enjoy it.
it was not fun. I mean, when they say school days are the best days of your life, my ass, dude. I'm like, what
Ooh.
fucking school did you go to?
In
Like, I fucking
college, maybe,
despise.
but by
Yeah,
then, you know,
yeah,
you've got full control back.
right.
You
But you know,
know,
high school's nothing about a fucking big popularity contest, and it's fucking horrible. You know.
oh yeah,
I mean, I don't care what school you go to. I almost guarantee, like, you couldn't tell one school from another school just by. I mean, if they were all laid out exactly the same and same color and shit, like they blindfolded wouldn't be able to tell one school from another. All kids act the same. I guarantee it, dude. Guarantee
yeah,
it.
oh yeah,
Guarantee it.
you know, but Actually, funny story. A buddy of mine went to a Catholic school before he, went to the public school because somehow the
Uh-huh.
public school had better classes, like more advanced
Yeah.
classes. But because the Catholic school regulated what you could wear, even like down to
Like
your
uniform,
backpack.
right? Yeah, like
Yeah.
uniform, right?
Yeah, and even the backpack, it had to just be like a plain black backpack.
Right.
So because the kids couldn't pick on you for what you were wearing, because they were wearing it too, they pick on you for your backpack because that's a backpack a poor person has. You
That
know?
sounds like kids. That sounds like kids. Yeah, we have a Catholic school in our town, and it's grades kindergarten through eighth, and then they got to go to high school. There's no they don't have no Catholic high school around here, but they do have grade school and junior high, and they got to wear like I think it's like black or blue slacks and like white and blue shirts, and the girls wear like kind of like a blue and white plaid jumper and a white shirt kind of thing, like a little skirt type thing,
Hmm.
like a blue and white plaid skirt type thingy. Yeah,
Uh,
I never went. I mean, all the people I know that went to Catholic schools ended up being fucked up. I mean, like they get out of school and they're like most of them were like literally like are a couple of them were dead. I know that went to Catholic school, and maybe one or two is in prison, but they're all like substance abusers and criminals and shit like that. So it doesn't sound
yeah.
like Catholic school helped many people out actually.
No, we actually have a similar phenomenon where I live, where the kids in the Catholic schools, at least while they're in school, will do drugs and shit like that.
Right.
And it was a problem in the public school too, just not nearly as much of one.
Right. I wonder if you tend to rebel more because you're in a religious school.
Uh,
I mean, that's even more authoritarian. You can't
yeah,
even
probably because it's more structured.
yeah, you can't even express yourself in any way. You have to wear exactly the same thing as everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, and they wouldn't even let kids color their hair either. Like maybe a little bit blonde, but nothing, no streaks, no, weird colors,
Right. Right.
anything
Nothing that
other
would
than
draw
natural
attention.
color was a no-go.
Right. Nothing that would draw attention to you or
Yeah.
unwanted attention, I should say. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Uh, that's
So
fucking
what?
crazy.
So when did you how long have you been an atheist?
Let's see. I'm 32 years old now, so about 12, 13 years, maybe.
Oh yeah, and you're not a secret atheist, are you?
No, I'm pretty well out.
Okay. All right. I mean, there's like people that are still kind of secretive, and I feel sorry for them. Really, I mean, that'd be rough, man, to live a life like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Druid genetically modified skeptic because I can speak the English language. Um, he just a few months ago came out as an atheist after having a pretty successful channel.
Right. Right. I'm pretty vocal about my atheism, to be honest with you, and people like if I go to like I said, I'm recovered. I went to AA and stuff, and like they hate me, dude. I'm like I'm fucking the resident atheist. I will not bend. Like they tried and tried and tried, and I'm just like whatever. You guys are fucking like they take no credit for themselves. Oh, it was God that got me sober. No, you got you sober, motherfucker. That's who got you sober. You
Yeah,
did. Fucking
you,
like
first of all, you
like
can't get sober unless you're the one that wants to do it.
yeah, and that's the
You
thing
know,
too. Is like people try to force people into rehab or force them to go to AA or
it doesn't take.
whatever. But you gotta want to do it. I mean, you gotta. If you don't want it, it's not going to happen. You can't have any reservations. Like I was to the
Yeah,
point where like death. I prefer death. Like I would literally dread my eyes opening every morning. So like by that time, I didn't give a fuck. Like so. I got in trouble for something minor. I went to jail for I was in there for 13 days, and I got bonded out. And so I was dope sick in jail. It was fucking horrible, dude. They wouldn't give me no extra. They wouldn't give me no extra oranges or nothing. So I'd sweat through them and fucking. All you get's a big heavy wool blanket and this shitty little fucking uh 2-inch mat that's been used for 20 years, so it's fucking useless.
Oh,
You can't have a pillow. All you get when you go in is a couple bars skate soap, a toothbrush that's probably 2 inches long. um, what else you get? Oh yeah, a juice cup, coffee cup, and a hand towel in your oranges. That's it. That is literally all you get. In your mat and sheet and blanket. That's it. But so the first 7 days I was in jail, I didn't sleep at all because I fuck you can't sleep when you're withdrawn. So the last 6 days I finally started sleeping a little bit. Then I got bailed out, and everybody thought that my first thing was I was gonna get some dope, but I'd had enough. I was finally I felt good. I mean, 13 days was a long time. That'd been the longest I'd ever been, and I figured, I knew I was going back to court and I was going to probably have to do some more jail time, and I was going to be on probation. So, I mean, I didn't want to go to prison. So I'm like, fuck it, I got clean, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I know why I became an addict, I think, um, but I'll explain that to you. But when I was 17 years old, my sister was murdered, and after that, I kind of just, I don't know. That's when I kind of went through my Marilyn Manson phase and started doing drugs and drinking real heavy. I mean, I would do anything to gain it, and by the time, so figure from the time I was 18 till I was probably, I don't know, 33 or 34, I'd probably partied every day. I mean, I don't even want to think of the amount of money I spent on drugs. But yeah, so I went to jail. I was it was horrible. It was the most horrible experience ever. But I tell you what, that makes you not want to do drugs when you get out. So, um, oh yeah. So the last time I got high was April 16th of 2013, and the only reason I remember that is because I that was the first day I went to jail, and you kind of remember stuff like that. So, yeah, that was the end of my heroin career. I just I overdosed twice. That didn't stop me. But the thought of going to prison, I was just like, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You want to die every day. Like, you hope for death. And like, I'm like, and finally, I'm like, I just made a decision. I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. I can't live like this. And um, I just never looked back. I mean, I've had a few times where I've had surgery and something like that, and I have to take painkillers. But I am super super careful with them because my brain doesn't know the difference between uh, getting high for fun and getting high because of the pain. So I'll still give my painkillers to someone to hold on to for me and be like, yeah, give me what's directed because I don't read directions very well. And I know me. I know me. I have an addictive personality. I mean, unfortunately, people say they're cured, but I don't think addiction's ever cured. You might have it under control,
yeah,
or it might be in remission, but you're still an addict. I mean, if I was to
yeah,
go out, if I was to go out and shoot dope one time, it wouldn't just be once. It would continue. I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
yeah. I know a couple of people that have been addicts for a few decades now. Haven't like alcohol, but
It's a rough life, dude. No matter what you're an addict of, it's a fucking rough life, dude.
yeah, yeah. And some of these 30-year addicts who have been sober the whole time, they still don't want to be around beer or any kind of liquor because they don't know if they'll control themselves. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, and, there's a saying in recovery that if you hang out at a barber shop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. And what they mean is like, I mean, if you, if you put yourself in
Yeah.
situations, that you could, like that would be like me going to hang out with just hanging out with people shooting heroin like that. That's a stupid idea, like one, why do I want to hang out with people like that anymore? And two, like, you wouldn't just go do that for like, just for your brain might be telling you, oh, I'm just hanging out with them. But in reality, you're setting yourself up to fuck up. To fuck up is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Addiction's a very sneaky thing, dude. Like you wouldn't believe. It might sound crazy, but like I found drugs in my hand and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, like I don't remember, like my mouth reacts before my brain does. Like someone's like, "You want drugs?" I'm like, "Yeah," and like I fucking have them. I'm like, what happened? I did not want these, Like it hasn't happened for a long time. I'm just saying, but like when you're trying to quit, I didn't try. It wasn't. I didn't quit my first try. Let me tell you, I did not quit my first try. I went cold turkey a lot of times, and it's nothing I wish on anybody. Imagine having the worst flu you've ever had times like 3. It's pretty fucking horrible, dude. It's pretty horrible. And you can't, except for you can't sleep though, so you're miserable for like literally like probably 5 days straight, and then you might start sleeping.
Yeah.
It's pretty
I
shitty.
mean, my one event that I've ever had with withdrawals is definitely nothing compared to yours. But yeah, I
Oh no,
felt
I've heard you told me that yours was psychotropics, right? That can fuck
um
you up too, man.
yeah,
Like antidepressant or
antidepressants.
something, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That could fuck you up more than you think, dude. Your body gets used to that
Oh
therapeutic
yeah.
level, and when you're not taking it anymore, it fucks with you. Because it's it's most antidepressants are a serotonin reuptake inhibitor,
Yeah.
so it fucks with the chemicals in your head when you stop taking
Oh
it.
yeah. Yeah, and I was even working with my doctors to, because it was a properly prescribed medication, but still it
Right,
has addicting properties and you have to
right on.
wean off of it slowly. So even with consulting my doctor and everything, I still went through the withdrawals. I got particularly easily agitated,
Yeah,
like that was
That's
probably
pretty
my
common.
worst symptom,
Yeah,
and other than that, my muscles all across my body would tense up really bad. I'd feel like throwing up. I just felt terrible,
yeah, it's not a fun feeling.
so
Did you
tame
get
as hell
cold sweats
compared
or anything
to
like that?
I did.
Yeah, that's horrible too, isn't it? But
Yeah.
there's other symptoms of dope sickness like restless leg syndrome. Like your arms and legs are constantly like you got to move all the time, and you get cold sweats. You're hot, you're cold, you're hot, you're cold, you're
Yeah.
hot, you're cold. It's just you're constantly like. This is gonna sound gross, but you're literally peeing out of your butthole. You're like just it's just straight fluid just coming out. Because opiates they constipate you. So when you finally run out of them, it's just everything in you is going to come out. It's
Yeah.
pretty fucking horrible, dude. It's pretty horrible.
Yeah.
It's not fun, not pleasant at all.
Yeah, I didn't have that one, fortunately, but pretty much all the rest of it I did.
Yeah,
So anyone who wants to say that addiction isn't a disease, go fuck yourself.
yeah. I was talking to
Clearly
someone
don't know
about that yesterday. Like they were saying that heroin addicts shouldn't get Narcan to save their lives. They do it to themselves. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, would you go up to someone that's had 3 heart attacks and say, well, you've already had 3 heart attacks. You don't deserve this medication. Fucking, you've already had 3. You're going to die anyway. I'm like, no, it's the same fucking thing. They're like, well, but they do it themselves. I'm like, do you think they want to do that? Do you think that like drug addicts wake up in the morning and think, how can I alienate everybody that loves me and fucking ruin my life? It's
Yeah.
obviously a sickness. They might not think of it as a sickness, but like addicts, like they literally have no control. It's not you in charge when it's your addiction in charge. When
Yeah,
you're full blown addiction, you're in the back seat. You're not driving, man. I'm telling you.
yeah, it's your physical need to have these drugs, and that's exactly what
Yeah,
it becomes. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I mean that's all your life becomes. And you know the shitty thing is doctors prescribed like have prescribed opiates like candy for
yeah,
years, like the late 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Like they realized that Vicodin and hydrocodone was addictive, so they tried to come up with something new, and they came up with OxyContin, and they wrote one paper on it that said it was not as addictive. It's not addictive in a clinical setting, so like in a hospital. And these are people like with no known addiction problems prior. So this paper was not exactly what you'd call scientifically uh, sound. So,
yeah.
but doctors took that as gospel and they just prescribed fucking. They probably got perks, you know. They probably got like
Oh
fucking
yeah,
cruises and free dinners and all that shit. But doctors get all these fucking people like strung out on painkillers and like old ladies, dude. I've seen little old ladies that are fucking junkies. Like, I mean, I worked in the healthcare field for 18 years, and like they would watch that clock, dude. They knew when it was time for their pill, man. They would watch that fucking clock. I mean,
yeah,
they would as soon as it was time, they would, and and the shitty thing is doctors then get in trouble for writing too many scripts, so they stop completely. So now you got all these people strung out on opiates, and you cut off their supply. What do you think they're gonna do, dude? They're addicted to them. They're
yeah.
gonna fucking.
They're gonna
They're
go
gonna
look for
find.
a
They're gonna.
source.
Yeah, they're gonna find. I mean, drug addicts are gonna find drugs. I mean, don't they will. If you want to find them, you're going to find them.
Yeah,
So that's what happened to me. I mean, I was already kind of a druggie anyway. I mean, I drank and did coke, and I'd do meth every now and then, ate acid. But I got hurt, and I got painkillers, and I really enjoyed them. I mean, I didn't even need to drink when I took painkillers. I mean, it kills everything. I mean, you have nothing, feeling pain or nothing at all. I mean, it's just pure euphoria. So I got hooked on that. And like when the doctors took me off them, like after a year and a half or whatever, cold turkey, like I started buying pills in the black market, and that got too expensive because my tolerance was so high. So I started sniffing heroin, and then next thing you know, I'm shooting it, and then my life just crashed from there. Like, I mean, there was no more hide my addiction anymore. I mean, I was too far gone, dude. I mean, like, I didn't even try to hide it anymore. I didn't care. I mean, I was a full time junkie, and uh, I mean, it's so weird how easily that can happen. I mean, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, the
I mean,
idea
like,
that the idea that it's
yeah.
something you did to yourself is just not valid.
I mean,
You
I
know.
did it. I didn't. I mean, I did do it to
Mhm.
myself. Yeah, I'm the one that took the drugs, but I mean, like, I literally, like, I made such bad decisions. I mean, they were all. I left my wife, my first wife. Um, I left her, and like, she's like, "There's another woman, ain't there?" I'm like, "No, there isn't." I'm like, "I'm a heroin addict, and I don't want to take you down the road with me." And part that was partly true, but in reality, I mean, if I stayed there, I had to pay bills, and that would take money out of my pocket. So I wanted drugs, that's what I wanted to do. So I literally left everything. I took my guitar, my Xbox, and my clothes. I just left her the house, the furniture, let her have the car, everything. I just let her have everything, and I left. I mean, we're still friends to this day, but um, uh, I mean, it took a long time for her to trust me again. It took a really long time, but yeah. So I mean, it's crazy the things you'll do. I mean, like it turns you into a crazy person. It really does, and so that's why I like to speak out about like I do addiction streams sometimes on my channel. Like Duke will join me and Stags. I met a new lady on Twitter. She's called her name's Lisa. She's um, her Twitter name is Secular Sobriety, and I'm really looking forward to talking to her about how she got clean and like what her life's like now. Just every addict story is the same and it's different at the same time. Like but it's pretty much the same story. It's just different situation, So
Yeah.
it's weird like that, but I still look forward to talking to her. I do like to speak out about addiction because it's a taboo subject. No one wants to talk about it. I'm not afraid to admit I'm a junkie. That's what I am. I'm an ex-junkie, I guess now, but I mean, I am what I am. I can't hide from that. I can't change the fact that I did what I did. So the best I can do is hopefully teach people so they don't make the same mistake I did.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
I don't see anything wrong with pot. I don't have a problem with drugs at all. To be honest with you, drugs have a problem with me. I'm the one that doesn't know how to moderate. Like, if you can do drugs responsibly and have fun, more power to you. But I personally am not that person. I just can't do it. I don't know how to say no. I mean, one's too many, a thousand's never enough.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. But a lot of people, I don't know. There's a lot of shame involved, but I can't be any more ashamed of speaking out now that I'm clean and sober and I can, hold my head up high compared to, like, I didn't seem to mind being a junkie when I was fucking eating on a fucking dumpsters and smoking half smoked cigarettes from mall ashtrays and shit like that. So, you just gotta be a man, have some integrity,
Yeah.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's a disease, if anything, I'm one of the only people left of my friends, like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 friends are dead. 2 of them very, very good friends. Very, very good friends. Like, we were inseparable all the time we were together. And so that's 5 dead, and probably 1, 2, 3, 4 doing life in federal prison.
Damn.
Yeah. So yeah, drugs will fucking fuck your life up, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they will.
So
But
what else would you like to know?
oh. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good spot to end it. What do you think, man?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Yeah, I like to try to keep these to an hour and
Oh yeah, about an hour is pretty
yeah,
good. Hey, dude.
yeah. But yeah, so everybody definitely check out Mole's channel. He's an awesome dude, So
Thank you.
I've got his Twitter and his YouTube linked down below in the description. So definitely give him a follow on Twitter and a subscription on YouTube. Definitely. So, but yeah, did you have any closing thoughts, Mole?
No, I just want to say how awesome I think our community is, and how I don't know how to put it, like, how welcoming, like, how cool was it that yesterday, like, like Michelle came in and, like, we just, like, we bring people in and we're like, it's almost like, them old, like 1930s movies where, like, someone comes in and they, like, just get treated like family, like, here, have a blanket and have some biscuits, and, like,
Yeah.
it's almost like that, but just, like, in a digital way, like, hey, how are you? My name is, and how are, where are you from and what's new? I think it's cool how inviting and welcoming our community is, and, like, I get a kick out of how Christians think atheists are such immoral, horrible people, and we're probably 10 times nicer than they are. Like, on my stream earlier, we were just trying to have a chat, and yeah, we were talking about these. We were talking about Christian. It was uh, the fallacies that Christians think atheists use against them. And this guy just comes in. He's like, "Why don't one of you debate me? One of you debate me?" And we're like, "Dude, we're just having a friendly chat, drinking coffee. Like, we don't want to debate anybody. It's not what this is about. Fuck off, get out of here. And like, I just thought that was so weird because, like, I don't go into a Christian stream and just start fucking spamming their chat and, like, trying to call them out and shit. Like,
Oh yeah.
who's the bad guy again? Like, you believe in God, we don't, but we're the bad guys. I'm like,
Clearly.
that just goes to show you, that fucking they're
Oh
nuts.
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm definitely glad. I won't say I found this group. They definitely found me, but yeah, I'm glad I'm part of it now. It's a bunch of awesome people.
Right.
But
It is. It's hard to find like-minded people. I mean, most people in America live in pretty small towns or rural towns. We not a lot of people live in cities. So to find like-minded people, I mean, we don't agree with everything. Obviously, I
oh
spend
yeah.
probably half my time arguing with people too. But I mean, but we're still friends, and that's what's cool about it. It's not it doesn't it seems more genuine than superficial. You would think that an internet friendship wouldn't be that genuine, but I don't feel that with this group. I really don't.
No,
Like
this group
it
seems pretty genuine to me.
yeah, it does. It doesn't seem superficial or nothing. So pretty much what I'm saying is I love you guys, is what I mean.
Mole and the
Whether you
group
like it or
sitting
not.
in a tree.
Yep.
How much of
I
a
love them
child?
whether they like it or not. Nope, that's about all I have.
Yeah. All right. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Thank you everybody for stopping in, and definitely thank you, Mole, for doing an interview
No
with me, man.
problem. No problem.
All right, and I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to subscribe to Mole if you haven't already. Get
I'm
on
sure they do.
that.
Later.